Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Fernanda Fitri Ariyanto and I will continue our presentation. First, I will present to you about the struggle for civil rights. Members of oppressed groups sometimes coalesce to fight against the harsh economic and political realities and injustice opposed on top. This movement for democratic rights and economic justice invariably bolster community solidarity based on race or national origins. The fight for civil rights has led to the reduction of the overt discrimination and exclusion that has kept many citizens from having access to the basic necessities and benefits of society. The call for Black Power brought attention to the history and contribution of African Americans to society. Black Studies and other ethnic studies programs were established in colleges and universities. Educators and textbook publishers were pushed to rewrite books to more accurately reflect the multi-ethnic history of the United States. Yet social change didn't necessarily follow, although legislation guaranteed equality for all racial groups. Many European Americans continued to fight against the desegregation of schools and other public facilities. Frustration with the dominant group's effort to impede progress led African Americans and members of other oppressed groups to identify even more strongly with other members of their ethnic group to fight discrimination and inequality with a unified voice. These struggles continue today, not only in the United States. Many segregated school districts and universities took years to integrate their schools. The fierce resistance of many whites and many communities required the use of the National Guard to protect African American students who were entering white schools for the first time. Many well-established private schools have moved to the suburbs, where the population was primarily European American, to avoid sending their children to school with African American children. Some communities, such as Virginia, close their public schools rather than desegregate them. Unfortunately, one of the negative outcomes of this movement was the loss of jobs by African American teachers and principals who were hired to work in integrated schools. The goal of desegregation changed over time from the physical integration of students in a school building to the achievement of equal learning opportunities and outcomes for all students. Civil rights groups are now asking why students of color have unequal access to qualified teachers, advanced mathematics and science classes, gift classes, and equality funded schools. Why are African American and Latino students disproportionately represent in non-academic and special education classes, and why do the rates for school suspensions and dropping out vary so greatly across racial groups? As schools become desegregated again, educators have greater responsibility for ensuring that all students learn regardless of the ethnic and racial composition of the schools. Teachers will also have the responsibility for helping students understand that the world in which they will work in the multi-ethnic and multiracial, unlike the school they may be attending. intergroup relations. Discriminatory practices have protected the superior status of the dominant group for centuries. When other ethnic groups try to participate more equitably in the reward and privilege of society, the dominant group must concede some of its advantage. As long as one ethnic or racial group has an institutional advance over other, intergroup conflict will occur. Competition for economic resources can also contribute to intergroup conflict. As economic conditions become tighter, fewer jobs become available. Discriminatory practices in the past have forced people of color into positions with the least seniority. When jobs are cut back, disproportionately high number of people of color are laid off. The tension between ethnic groups increase as members of specific groups determine that they disproportionately suffer the hardship resulting from economic depression. Hate group recruitment efforts by hate groups often target areas of the country that have experienced economic and racial change, such as factory layouts or increased diversity in a school. Some recruits may be angry about economic conditions that have led to the loss of jobs in their communities. I mean, rather than blame the composition, which may be economizing and moving jobs to source and cheaper labor, the blame African American, women, Arabs, Jews, or the government. Had growth organizer confines new recruits that members of other groups are taking their jobs and being pandered to by government programs. A student contact in a school can provide information about any anger in students that make the school a potential site for recruitment. The path to prison began for many young in school, especially with the zero tolerance policies of a number of schools that can lead to children and yet being handcuffed and arrested. Zero tolerance policies in school require punishment of any infraction of a rule, although the initial intent was to ensure stability of the learning environment by removing students for possession of drugs or weapons. Students have been suspended and expelled for the possession of cutthroat or Tainolo pepper swords or a tie gun. Although punishment for some of these offenses may be appropriate, critics of the zero tolerance policy would argue that the punishment is far too severe for many of the offenses. When students are expelled from school, they are not only removed from a learning environment but often left on their own and exposed to opportunities for getting in trouble that places them in the juvenile justice system. And then acknowledging race and ethnicity in schools. Small group teams and cooperative learning promote both learning and interracial friendships. Students should have equal access to the curriculum, advanced scores, and qualified teachers, and then activities to develop high-order thinking skills. They should see themselves in the curriculum and in the textbooks. Practices such as tracking and pull-out programs are barriers to providing equal access and improving intergroup relations, engaging parents in school activities and decisions may help decrease the dissonance between schools and home. The provision of multicultural education is a critical component in the continued effort to integrate schools and improve intergroup relations. Converting racism in classroom. A first step in combating racism in schools is to realize that racism exists and that if teachers are white, they have benefit from it. A teacher's challenge is to seriously confront these issues at a personal level before entering the classrooms. If teachers believe that people of color are intellectually inferior, it will be difficult for them to have high expectations for the academic achievement of those students. In the classroom, you will be in a position to help students grapple with this topic and their own feelings. As you learn to practice anti-racism in the classroom, you should pursue equal opportunity and academic outcomes for your students. In the practice of anti-racist education, teachers acknowledge that race impacts their students' lives, learn from the knowledge and experience of the communities in which they are teaching, and challenging racial inequality in classrooms, schools, and communities. Incorporating race and ethnicity in the curriculum. The school environment should help students learn to participate in the dominant society while maintaining connections to their distinct ethnicities. All students should feel like they belong. Respect for and support of ethnic differences are essential in this effort. As educators, we can afford to reject or neglect students because their ethnic backgrounds are different from our own. We are responsible for making sure our students learn to think, read, write, and compute so that they can function effectively in society. We can help accomplish this goal by accurately reflecting ethnicity and race in the curriculum and using it specifically to teach and interact with students. The last is the role of assessment. However, teachers are expected to help all students learn regardless of environmental factors that may make the task challenging. We may think we're being nice to students who have a difficult home life or who are English language learners by making less rigorous academic demands on them than on other students. Instead, students may decide that we don't believe they are capable of learning at the same level as other students and will respond accordingly, closing the opportunity gap. School conduct widespread testing of students to determine whether they are meeting the standards established by state. Tests are termed as measures of competence to move from one grade to another. Graded from high school, enter upper division collectors, earn a baccalaureate, and become licensed to teach. And then, who is responsible for closing the opportunity gaps? Students are always active participants in their academic achievement. They are not always engaged with the schoolwork and they don't always do their homework. However, effective teachers don't allow students to fail. There are many Example of good teachers who have helped students with low test scores achieve at advanced level. African American and Latino students have performed at the same level as other students in mathematics and other subjects after teachers raised their expectations and changed their teaching strategies. Your challenge is to become no you me we have challenge is to become one of the teacher who students are not allowed to fail. That is all from me and Risma. Thank you so much for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.